Hello, welcome to another episode of the Star Wars Minute. It's your daily podcast where we analyze, we scrutinize, and we celebrate the rise of Skywalker 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I am Tom Taylor from the Indiana Jones Minute. Take that, John.
Crap, I gotta take it now. I am John Ingle from the 007x7 podcast.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Welcome back, but better known as the ABCDTOS crew around these parts. So,
Yeah.
That's
how
these
Pete
parts.
knows it.
around these parts, yeah. Anyway, thanks for coming back, fellas. We are talking about 103, minute 103. The buzz. Minute 103 starts off with Finn guessing that the navigational signal is coming from that command chip, and ends a minute later with Finn telling BB-8 he's proud of him as the rebels gallop on a Star Destroyer. That can't be right? Gallop on a Star Destroyer? I must have wrote down the wrong word there.
I think
Like
it's
Monty
taking a
Python
pull.
and the Holy Grail, they just kind of choose that way of walking.
Right.
That must be what it is.
So yes, this is the first inkling of Finn's force powers.
The first inkling.
But I have a question about this. Have we ever, in all of our Star Warsing, ever seen somebody have a feeling about an inanimate object? Like we've had people like Vader senses Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan senses Vader, I don't know, Luke senses Vader across ships and stuff and Jedi and everything. But like Finn is getting a feeling from like a thing being turned on another spaceship.
Or he's getting a feeling from the people on the ship. They're all
Being
thinking,
turned on.
we got him. We're
They're
now
so
we
excited
got
that
this
they
signal."
turned the thing on. Oh,
Yeah.
maybe.
I don't, not to lean back into my old tropes, but I did not think that this was the Force at all.
Oh,
I just thought it was him, having confidence.
good old Stormtrooper hunterism.
He just picked a random Star Destroyer and it just happened to be the one.
I mean, that one instead, as we said, this is a different Star Destroyer. This is the one that was out there, right? This is the one, this was like the finalizer or whatever, right? This isn't.
Oh, is it?
Steadfast. Steadfast is the name of the
Right.
ship.
So this is not one of the Sith fleet. This is a separate. One of these things is not like the other. I think he's just doing basic deduction and then being like, see, I got the Force, right? Yeah.
The one that looks different. Yeah.
There's some bit of film language in here, though, Pete, that indicates that maybe it's a little bit more important than that.
Well, I don't
the
think
whole
this movie can rely on
stops for him to
film
say.
logic at this point. I think an hour and 103 minutes in, it's too late to say, oh, this film uses film logic.
No, I'm saying film language. That's not
Film
that's
language.
not the
Still,
same thing.
that's what I mean.
They're not choosing to cut to him, have him turn the music lower, and him say a feeling. Because it's just a feeling. It's the payoff for the whole Force thing. It just is.
But how do we know it's not the payoff for the having confidence and being a co-leader thing, which is also a plot string? That's like they were talking about. Like, yes, I want like Poe was like, hey, we need to lead together, and I want you to come with me and make decisions and be a general. And he kept being like, yeah, listen to the general. He's got a plan. This is the extrapolation of like Finn's co-chair of the programming committee here.
Peter, are you like a full-on Force atheist? This is starting to feel like a theological.
It comes and goes. I don't know.
Like, I don't know. I believe
It's also
in the
weird
Force,
because-
and I think that this is definitely the Force, divine intervention.
It's also weird because it could have been very easy just have Finn say, "Oh, when I worked on I worked on a Star Destroyer and I was trained." You know what I mean? It's not like they had to stretch for a possible
He's trying to
explanation.
impress a girl by pretending that he has the Force, just like he was before. Like whenever he's talking to Rey.
How do our guests feel about Finn becoming a blossoming Force user?
Again, like the spaceships being a microcosm of one problem with the movie, I think that is a microcosm of another problem with the movie, where it's all just like, I'm so tired of Star Wars. We've seen all this before. Another person who thinks he's got oh my God. Like it's kind of over and over and over again, done in like, we're doing it again, but not quite as well or interesting. And, I don't want to be just like a huge negative guy, because other people love this movie and some people hate it and express that better than I will. But, I think it's, given the way it's like kind of half explored in the movie, like, he's cut off in mid sentence a few times and it's like a running gag that he's not saying what it is. and he never does say what it is, and it's just kind of like it's not there. It's not in the movie. It's not in the movie. His burgeoning force ability is not in the movie, so we shouldn't really be talking about it. We're doing a show about the movie, and it's not there.
If we were talking about the Lego Star Wars specials, then it's in that. We could talk about it then.
Okay, there you go.
But it's not in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. I mean, I don't need Finn to have to be a force sensitive guy. I don't need him. I don't think he needs it. I don't think he needs it for himself. It's very extra and kind of tacked on, and it almost seems like they were trying to hack it out of the movie, but they didn't get all the pieces out or something.
It just feels the same as the Post problem, where again, I think Poe would have been the perfect sacrificial lamb to give Finn something else to do. Like in one way, Finn has to step in, fill in for Poe. But so much of their both of their arcs
Poe just blew up. What do we do now? And then he's going to be like the command tower, like there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Poe, when I'm talking about Poe dying, I'm talking about first act. I'm not talking. He's not last, and like he's got to be part of like what incites an inciting incident for someone in the first act. And it's just funny because I mean this has been talked to death almost, how Johnson kind of completed some arcs in Last Jedi and made it kind of difficult to go from there. Now, I think, you have two characters that are in that situation. You can kill one and have the other one respond to that, and then you're good. Again, I don't know exactly what it would be that Finn would do. I think you would have to construct this whole thing around it. I'm not going to be able to do that tonight. But
come on.
I just do think you could have picked two. You got these two guys that have the same problem where their threads have been tied already. And it's like, okay, well, let's untie one thread for one guy by getting rid of the other one and giving him something new. So I don't like the Force thing at all. I don't feel it at all. Unlike Finn himself, I don't have a feeling about this at all. I go like, man, this does really feel made up on the spot. And Pete, like you're saying, like if he's pretending to have the Force or he is being imbued with this new confidence because he decided to join. So that was his arc in the second movie was got to join. So in the end, he decides to join. He's joined, but he's not on the team like fully with confidence yet. And confidence is the thing he seeks. And so he thinks that this new confidence he's getting is the Force. And then if it were revealed in the third act, buddy, that's not the Force. That's just you. That would have been kind of cool,
Yeah.
And again, and it would speak to Pete's atheist point of view about Star Wars. But so I don't like it at all. I think there were way better ways to go, and I can see why Boyega doesn't like it either. He's been pretty vocal about that, and I've always been like, I kind of hate it when these people do that. But at the same time, I look at Boyega, I go, I love John Boyega. I think he's a really talented guy, an amazing actor, and I kind of understand his point of view on this. So that's I'm kind of with him on it.
Well, in that reveal in particular, like I had to back it up because I was like, wait a minute, did my headphones just get unplugged? Like what? Like I had forgotten that that this moment was in there, and I literally backed it up a couple times. Actually, I was watching it without headphones, thought that suddenly all of the music entirely dropped out. Then when going back and listening to it with headphones, it's like the music, almost all of it drops out. And there's just like one guy that forgot to stop playing for a second. It's like, what? Like one violin was just like, huh? Oh, he missed the cue. But it was really drastic and seems like it was done. Like I probably wouldn't have released that if I was cutting that audio. Like it seems like it was done like way after the fact. It wasn't like an intended like musical swell to this point. It's just like music swelling and then it's just like got cut off, and it's like a sloppy fade into like a one thing, and then it cuts to a different scene, and it's just really drastic and draws attention to it in a bad way.
I mean, to me, it's like such a hackneyed thing to do. To like drop the music out, have him say something meaningful, cut away, that it feels like parody of itself. It's like so hackneyed at this point and old fashioned that I almost want to laugh at it and like I can't take it seriously. And the fact that I'm not bought into the whole idea of it in the first place doesn't help. So
that
I don't
expresses
know.
a lot of my. There's a lot of that in this whole sequence, like later on in minutes that we're not going to talk about, but you guys will. But there's a lot of like almost parody moments of heavy moments. And in the space battle, and like you say, John,
is it
if I were
because
more
they're
invested,
not
it
heavy?
might work for me. I think it's because
they're not naturally heavy. Yeah, they want it to be. They have to try to force it in some way, and you have to slather on extra layers of paint. Like drop the sound, make it this kind of moment. It's like, because it's not naturally working.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've kept our listeners on the edge of their seats long enough. It's time finally to talk about Lieutenant Tice.
Obi Tice.
We teased it yesterday.
Roby Tice.
It's like Wrobie is how you pronounce it.
And someone named her because they had a cold, and they looked at their medicine, their like flu medicine, like Roby Tice.
The actor's name, Vinette Robinson. No relation.
Yeah,
no relation.
So now we know where the Roby comes from. Well, yeah. Let's not.
Have you done the 23andMe, Alex?
I have not. No. She is a British actress. She was, of course, in Sherlock. She's in Black Mirror. She's in Doctor Who. Noteworthy for our purposes, she auditioned for the role of Queen Amidala in the first one.
Wow.
And unfortunately, her accent, she has a very distinctive, Northern British accent.
She couldn't talk normal.
She has to be regal.
For Queen Amidala. Her accent was too weird.
No, is it like Liverpudlian?
It wasn't Diplo speaking or not. It wasn't Diplo speak enough.
Right. She was too like Cockney, like, right. Well, see,
Andy Keane.
Oi.
Wait, that was
a trade federation, right?
All people are dying, eh?
I'm trying to think of Amidala lines that I like. Viceroy. Oh, yeah.
say our people are dying, Senator.
Right, yeah. Our people are dying, aren't they?
Isn't it? Sorry, British people.
But sorry everybody.
We love you.
Especially all the ones that we met. All the Brits that we met at Celebration. I apologize for everything that just came out of our mouths.
Yeah, sorry.
Except for the guy in the submarine. You won't hear this for a couple months, but then when you do, I'm sorry. I apologize.
So, Pete, you said you do not have access to the novelization this week, correct?
I did not. Yeah, it is. Crazy Joe has it, I think. Joe Maisel took it, and he's off on a road trip.
On the lam.
He's filming a road movie to Berlin, I think.
Like
That's the last thing I heard.
In this case, it's good that you didn't, because the novelization mistakenly identifies Lieutenant Tice as flying a Y-Wing, when, in fact, she flies the complete opposite of that, Pete's least favorite ship, the A-Wing. So there you go. Mistake. When you get the book back, you'll have to cross it out and write A-Wing.
Right.
And then mail it to best-selling author.
Cross out A-Wing.
What's her name? Yeah. Mail it back to
No,
her.
I want to cross out the movie and change it to a Y-Wing. So
okay, yeah.
I do that. Hey, there's another. Let me talk about somebody else too. In addition to Roby Tice.
Well, who else?
There's a guy here. There's a young officer, a young first order officer, talking to Allegiant General Pride, and he's the one who says, "Oh, they landed a troop carrier," and Pride gets a little bit like, "Oh, all right, jam the speeders." He gets a little bit like worried. He's like, "What are they doing?" And the guy says, "I can't, sir. They're not using speeders." That guy is Mazir Track.
Mazir Track.
Mazir Track. MASIRTRACH. And
Star Trek.
Track, yes. Track is what a train runs on. Trek is what the Enterprise goes on. This is another one of there's officers who are listed with their last name in the credits. And so like half of I can't tell if I was the guy, let's say I was Pablo Hidalgo, and I was tasked with naming all
Pablo
these.
Hidalgo.
You are probably, yeah.
Let's say, if I was tasked with naming all these guys, and I looked, and like in the credits, they were like Officer Johnson. Would I be like, oh, thank God that they gave me half my work is done already. I just have to come up with a first name, or was like, oh, I can't name this guy. I can't make a scramble of their first and last name because like they've already named them Johnson. So I got to give them. I'll just mix up their first and last names together to be their new first name.
I feel like the first one.
Sorry, Alex.
Yeah. Lieutenant Ray J. Johnson Jr.
Yeah, I feel like he has so many minor things to name all the time that anytime it comes pre-filled in, he's probably like, right, that's
great.
Yeah. The super cool name he was going to use is like, it'll come up. There'll be another guy.
Yeah. He probably has a generator at this point. He probably has like put the person's name in and it spits out 25 different Tuckerizations.
Right.
AI doing it for him now.
It's a good use of AI, yeah. Sorry.
Officer Trake was so named in the credits. And then, so Pablo only had to come up with his first name, which was Mazir, which is, the actor's name is Amir El Mazri. And, so if you Maz and Amir, Mazir. So, there you go. And Amir El Mazri has been in also a ton of things, but he's an Egyptian, born in Egypt. He's an Egyptian actor by nationality. And so, perhaps predictably, all of his roles are he's in, something. He's in a lot of things like a lot of modern kind of espionage intrigue movies where he plays the Arab guy. Like that's his, like he's always like, oh, like Abdul or Saeed or something like that in all these different roles. And which, if he's in, a rom-com and he's playing Abdul or Saeed, that's great. But when it's like, Cairo Opposition 6 and he's playing Abdul or Saeed, I'm like, he's probably not, but he's probably been in some other things. I haven't seen everything that he's in. Can't say that I've seen anything that he's been in, but browsing through his filmography, that's what it seemed like he was doing. But he's also in some higher brow things. But he lets everybody know they're not using speeders. So I'm assuming, if they got out in speeders, if they got out in like speeder bikes, let's say, they open up the doors and it's a biker gang, that they could just jam those bikers. They could just jam the speeders, like from the thing. They just hit a button and they're like, whoa, like their bikes get all wobbly.
We need to Return of the Jedi that they could jam their comm links from thing to thing. So maybe you could just jam the whole engine or something.
Or just jam their comm links so they can't talk to each other.
Maybe.
Is the standard operating procedure of the Resistance so well known too that he's just so sure that they're speeders? Like, oh, they landed, their speeders coming, jam them. We can't jam them. Like, no, there has to be speeders. Why can't you? Like, why is that such a foregone conclusion that there's speeders in there? That's what's kind of weird about it to me. I would think he would ask, are there speeders or how are they? It's got to be multiple ways. Those aren't like, they don't say the speeder carrier has landed on the surface. I don't know why he's so sure of it. But
he's like, what's coming out of that ship? Is it a cup, a ship, a speeder?
Horses.
Yeah.
They just needed some way to tell their horses, but they can't just come out and say, "Oh, sir, they're riding horses." They have to kind of
well, jam their horses.
I'll tease it out of them by
jam their horses.
The horses are like, what?
They hit like a boo, and all of a sudden they're like, roar. What did you do, you big dummy?
Sonar, like in Hunt for Red October, he should have been like,
right.
Oh yeah,
sir, I'm hearing something. It's whinnying. And they're like whinnying, like something. Or, it's the clopping of hooves, or it's the whatever you call the lip thing that the horses do.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Knackering, I think.
Oh, that might be
something. I can't remember. Is that right?
Something like
that. Might be it.
It's
that sounds like a British. Back to British. That sounds like a British euphemism.
Yeah. Once again, apologies to everybody that we hung out with at Celebration.
Well, maybe that's why people
get really drunk.
That's why people say they're knackered, because they're all like, they're
they're
tired.
All right.
Yeah. Well, anyway, clearly we've gotten to the space horses now.
Yes.
And I don't know. To me, this is one of the sillier moments. Like, I guess it's supposed to be majestic and, oh my God, that's so cool. And I guess it's silly, but I don't know, going with that, would my 10-year-old self like it? I don't know. I could see him making an argument for it being cool.
I think if I liked the movie more, I'd be totally on board. And even as it is, with not liking this movie so much, I'm like, all right, there's horses running on a Star Destroyer. That's cool. All right. Why not? I will say this. It looks like there are horses riding on a Star Destroyer. It looks really good. Like, for some reason, like, I'm all into the MCU and everything, but the effects are faltering. You can what I would assume to be the simplest shots to do, like have this person standing here and they have a fake background behind him, but it looks like he's standing there. That often does not work. But here, this works really, and throughout this movie, everything looks the way they want it to, and it looks really good. So kudos for that. And horses running on a Star Destroyer.
I wanted to say too that I think it's kind of silly. I'm with Ali. It's pretty silly. I mean, I'm all down with a horse flying an X-wing, but not necessarily running on top of a. But the thing about it is we were talking about the space battle going on, the X-Wings, Y-Wings, A-Wings, Star Destroyers, and we're just kind of like, they don't really do anything with it. They're just kind of flying around. At least this is an idea. At least this is a new idea.
It is, but as you're saying I'm realizing why don't they just land closer to where they're trying to go? Why do they need the horses? Why don't they just land right next to the tower thing and they just run over there on their feet?
Or why not just have a ship shoot
the original plan was?
Yeah, that's a great question because Finn says for some reason they can't shoot the tower from the air.
Why can't they just shoot the tower with a spaceship?
I don't know, but Finn says they can't do that, so they can't do that. They have to land there.
Oh, right.
Finn, he has a feeling they can't, and they just go with it.
He's got a feeling that it's not going to be as impressive.
Got a feeling you can't. This guy's feelings, they're pretty accurate so far.
As far as we know, they haven't been wrong. None of them have played out yet, but we'll see.
Let me ask you guys if something that I realized watching this that made me feel better. I like the horses fight. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I like that it's silly. Does it make you feel better about the whole thing if you then realize that not only do the Resistance defeat the Final Order, First Order, but they also poop on their ship?
Oh, wow. That is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Take that. That's for Alderaan.
Yeah. Yeah. That Star Destroyer looks like a good one for me to poop on.
I thought you were going to say first they overthrew the Empire with teddy bears, and now they're overthrowing the Empire with like ponies.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Really,
next will be rainbows.
Yeah. Next it'll be mermaids.
Yeah. Scented erasers.
It's just like, again, it's, like we said, it's kind of like the logic of like a 10-year-old. Like how high up in the air are they supposed to be that they can just run around like it's like, they're at the OK Corral.
Those horses should be freaking out. They should be just going berserk. Like, get me out of here. I'm not made for this.
Clearly there's a gravity gravity's not an issue, right? Obviously.
I think the artificial gravity extends to beyond the hull slightly.
Or exit.
I'm fine. Star Wars has always seemed to completely ignore gravity, and I'm fine with that. It does what it needs to do, and yeah.
I was also just thinking it'd be funny if you just turn.
People have fallen off of things, but
I mean, what we would call
they use it when they need it.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
Gravity as a passive force in space. Yeah, like you said they don't. It's not.
Yeah, well, if not, I think what you were saying, Alex, if they just like turn the ship, they flip the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and all the horses slide off. But they're trying desperately to keep up. Like,
oh my God.
Their stupid hooves clocking on the thing and they can't grab it.
Tilt towards the
Why did we bring horses? This was a terrible idea. I had a feeling. I'm sorry.
Record a horsey Wilhelm scream. Like,
oh my God.
Wilhelm Winnie. I don't know what you'd call it.
Fandom has reached this point now.
That would be kind of funny. It was just like, that is a Lego. That's a total Lego Star Wars thing, though. Like, come up with these things and you could just see it, like, just quickly tilt over and knock everybody off and just itself. Right. That would be the whole.
Oh,
joke.
And then
Star Wars
Ray comes out from having defeated the Emperor and just gets hit with a pile of horses.
Where did those come from? Speaking of Lego Star Wars, the newest Lego Star Wars game that encompasses all the movies and everything came out like, I don't know, last year or 2 years ago. I stopped playing it on this level because it glitched out and I lost my patience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because I did everything I was supposed to do.
The end?
Or what?
Wow. You were that close to the end?
I had done those games are built so like you have to do every level a few times, and like you do it the first time you can't possibly do everything. You do it again when you got more stuff and everything. And I was like, so I was kind of done, but like, trying to get more done. But like after this I like did everything you're supposed to do on this level, and it just wasn't taking me to the next thing. I'm like, I don't want to go read a book.
I just think the game just gave up. It was just like, this is just too much.
Nobody's going to possibly nobody's going to do the horse level again.
Horses on a Star Destroyer, forget it.
What?
2 horses on a Star Destroyer?
15, you got a deal, but 2, forget it.
It was a stroke of luck that they did these horses because Finn actually excelled at equestrian as part of his First Order training. Although he was more of a dressage guy than a prancing around kind of guy.
So they're like riding out to be like do the thing, and he's riding the horse like sideways, like
yeah. That would have been good. But luckily, unluckily, the final order deploys troops to go engage them on the X. So we're having a laser battle on the surface of the Star Destroyer with the red stormtroopers. How do you guys feel about the red stormtroopers, Twizzler style?
They're fine with me. I don't just any old any old stormtrooper. I don't care. I really don't. You can make them any star. I've never had one. I don't think I've ever met a stormtrooper I didn't like. The designs are all great to me. I can't think of one that I thought was
What's your favorite
stupid.
one, John? Favorite of all the stormtroopers?
Well, the classic, because I'm an old man.
Okay.
The classic stormtrooper, but
not
the
like
scout.
Yeah,
Scout troopers great.
Scout troopers are super cool.
The beach troopers and Rogue One with their nice little kind of tan suits. I just dig that too. I don't know. Actually, my least favorite ones tend to be the all black ones, whatever the Death Troopers and stuff. I'm like, I like them, okay, but I don't. The all black is too on the nose. I always like the white. It's kind of like irony, the ironic white of the Stormtrooper. But Scout Trooper, I will say in 1983, the Scout Trooper was very exciting.
That
was a really cool design to me when I was a kid.
Yeah, they were much stingier with introducing new ships and new. Now every movie introduces 6 new TIE fighters and 10 different times of stormtroopers and so on. But and then BB-8 is leading the charge.
Yeah.
Why is he here?
I had the same note.
You know why
I do not know.
You know why he's here? Because when we saw this in the theater and that was happening, my kid cheered out loud in the theater that this was happening. That's why he's here.
Yeah, totally.
It's very exciting when kids see BB-8 just going for it. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see when these kids grow up, how they feel about him, if they feel the same way about him as we did about R2-D2 or whatever, because to this day, my kid still adores BB-8. And I don't know. I like him fine too, but the connection that they have with kids that grow up with these movies might be pretty strong. But it looks kind of cool. He's running. He's at full speed, going at it. He even gets a little shout out from Finn for it. I don't know. I like it. It's kind of sweet.
But is there a reason that he's here? Is he just part wants of the plan of? Okay.
In the spirit of Star Trek, he just wants to share the danger. He's just
which means he's gonna.
I can understand.
I'm the part of the team. I'm going with you.
Don't move.
I can understand why he's rolling so fast, because if he slowed down, he's got 55 horses stampeding right behind him. So
he wasn't supposed to be on the mission. He was just woo, horses!
We landed.
He just got himself by the door at the wrong time.
Right, yeah.
See, I'm surprised that's not a joke they're doing. I feel like Lucas might have done a joke there where that would have happened, and we'd cut the close-ups of him Wah! I don't know.
Starring Todd Knox
George
as
Lucas
BB-8.
have done? What would he have done with BB-8?
Wow.
So many things. Yeah. I mean, he would have rolled through the poop that Pete was talking about earlier.
Yeah, there definitely would have been horse poop BB-8 situation.
Behind the horses, there would have been a smear of
he's got a stick.
Poop.
No, he's got a stick in one of his little arms. He's trying to scrape it off, like you do.
Well, anything else from minute 103? Power 103.
No, that's pretty much it for me.
Me too.
All right.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Well, I guess that will do it. We'll have more space battle. Actually, I think now tomorrow we're going to start our long odyssey through the blue caves. So strap yourselves in, folks. It's going to be a misty ride.
It's quite possible that nothing will happen tomorrow. Just so you folks know. It just might not have
Everyone
been
bring other random conversation topics.
Bring a good book.
Right, yeah.
Tomorrow's the day to go off topic, maybe, for a little while. Yeah. Filler.
And until then, why not listen to my obligatory merch store plug? We have the merch store. We plug it all the time. StarWarsMinute.com/merch. But some of the things we don't mention, you can also get rugs. You can get beach towels. You can get yoga mats. What else, Pete? What other weird duvet covers? That's one of my favorite ones. Shower curtains.
I feel like we're missing out by not having a Yoda yoga mat. I don't think we have a Baby Yoda yoga mat.
And it'd be like yoga mat.
Baby Yoda yoga mat. Right.
Yoga.
Well, just Huda Man, yoga mat, and that'll be it.
Wow.
Just go all the way and do a mashup with Finding Forrester and have it be yoga mat now dog.
Yoga mat now dog.
Alex, get on that. Figure out how that looks like.
Skateboards is always my favorite to bring up.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
skateboards. Stuff like that.
Has anybody bought it? Do you guys know? Has anybody bought a skate? I guess you would know.
No.
Wait.
No.
Nobody's bought a skateboard.
No, we don't know, or no, we haven't.
I have never, we get notified whenever anyone buys something. I always click to see what it is. Just
you do.
know.
Okay.
And
I just say that, like, somebody bought something.
Yeah. Shirts, stickers are very popular items.
Sure.
Stickers, magnets. Anyway, StarWarsMinute.com/merch. See you tomorrow for another Star Wars Minute.
StarWarsMinute.com/merch.
Pew pew.